Hello everyone, welcome back to another vlog. It's been a little over a month since I made my last blogging video, and I'd like to thank all of you for your support and comments from my last blogging video. And so I gotta ask myself a few questions here. Does having a big nose make me ugly? Well, maybe my nose is just bigger than the average person's nose. I just probably have a bigger nose than what most people may have. Does having a small head make me ugly? Well, more than likely I have a much smaller head than the average male out there. So what? Does the fact that I'm single make me an ugly person? Well, there are a lot of people out there who are single. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe they're separated. And maybe they're a widow. Or maybe they're in between relationships. So I can't really use that as an excuse to really think of myself as ugly. Is the fact that I still remain a virgin despite my age, does that make me an ugly person? Well, I guess that might depend on who you ask. Do I feel like I'm an ugly person? Do I feel ugly? Well, I guess what could lead to feeling ugly is low self-esteem and desperation. And those are probably two things I probably need to really work on the most, is low self-esteem and not coming across as overly desperate. Because as like a close buddy of mine I used to ski with many times back in my 20s would say, you talk about being alone all the time, if you act too desperate, it's going to send off an SOS 5 and people are going to flee in droves. He's like telling me, it's like, when I go into a ski jump, do I go into the jump confident or do I go into it desperate? And my response was confident. He was like, if you're gonna go out there, if you want to get yourself that job, if you want to go out there and make yourself new friends, you've got to go on attack mode. When you're about to hit that ski jump, you are focused, you're confident, you're preparing for the flight, you're preparing for a landing. I like to look at it this way. Say I take up the sport of martial arts, mixed martial arts, which I'm actually highly considering doing because I feel like not only is it a good way to keep yourself in shape, but learning a martial art can teach you a lot of lessons in life. Because if you're going to step into the ring, you don't want to step into the ring all afraid, all like a wet noodle, because the outcome's probably not going to be very good. You're going to want to go into that ring, focus in attack mode. And so it kind of shed some light on me that maybe my approach to doing things is probably a little off. So with that being said, what I really got to focus on is, if I'm going to fix my life, if I'm going to go get myself that awesome job, if I'm going to go out there and start putting myself into different fitness groups, I've got to work on fixing that low self-esteem. So how can I do that? Well, I can look at what's contributing to my low self-esteem, but I'd rather not dwell on that too much. Maybe that's best saved for another video. The thing I got to really focus on is, okay, so maybe I'm not the most attractive person out there. You know, it's probably safe to say that online dating, well, that's probably out of it. But so what? I mean, I'm just kind of throwing that out there that, yeah, you know, I may not necessarily be ugly, but yeah, maybe I'm average. You know, let's just give it at best average. Even then, online dating, you'd probably want to be above average if you want to have any shot with online dating. That's my opinion, but maybe some of you might disagree with that. So how am I going to fix this low self-esteem? Well, it was interesting because throughout most of the winter time, I was pretty much behind my computer, really honing in on picking up those technical skills, computer programming, learning Python, structured query language, statistical analysis, and I was keeping myself pretty busy. But then I kind of decided, wait a sec, okay, I've got to kind of get myself a little more active and not become too glued to my computer. And so over the past few weeks or so, I kind of decided to really put myself out there. I decided to go back to my home mountain of Alpental and be like, all right, let's see what I can do. Let's see if I can kind of fit back in, see if I can find my tribe or whatnot. And it's perhaps I may have been a little premature, because it's one thing to go into a ski jump or go into your ski run or go into a fighting ring all confident, all that, but if you lack the technique, well, that could also backfire on you. I mean, it's one thing to put yourself out there and start, interacting with others, but there is probably also some technique involved. So Does that mean I need to completely socially isolate myself until I finally do get that job, until I finally do get the social skills coaching and whatnot? Do I really need to wait that long? Well, I gotta look at it this way. I'm sure when I meet with my therapist later on this week and kind of describe my situation, more than likely it's going to be suggested that I put myself out there and not keep using my lack of success thus far in my career field or whatnot as an excuse to continue to put myself and continue to socially isolate myself. So how can I work on this technique? Well, that's something I'm kind of wondering about myself. How can I really hone in on making sure I'm not embarrassing myself or saying the wrong things or coming across as awkward or egocentric? And so one of the things I can kind of think about is, okay, if I'm going to have a conversation with someone, is maybe the two words I should really avoid using are the words I, me, myself. If I can maybe avoid using those three words, maybe that's a good start. And the other thing is, maybe I should be the one asking more of the questions and not be the one that's having to answer, like not be overly talking about myself. But I do have to admit, when it comes to improving my self-esteem, granted, getting myself an awesome job I'm pretty confident that's gonna help significantly boost my self-esteem, because it's oftentimes when you go out there and meet someone new, the second question or third question is oftentimes, what do you do for work? What do you do for a living? They're not going to ask you, oh, what do you like to do for fun? Or what did you do last weekend? Or where have you traveled to? More likely than not, they're going to ask you about your work. And so if I can go into a conversation confidently and be like, yeah, so let's throw a hypothetical scenario in there. Let's say I get a dream job and I end up working for, like, say, Microsoft as a data analyst. Okay, well, I'd be like, okay, so what? They asked me, like, what do I do for work? Well, I'm a data analyst for Microsoft. I help determine, like, what features of, like, this new platform they're experimenting with are most useful, what their users like most about this new platform. Are there certain features that we can improve on? Are there certain features that we should get rid of? And so I'm kind of helping to kind of like collect the data on that, kind of doing a lot of querying, and I enjoy it, look forward to it. It's work, it's a job, but for the most part, I look forward to getting up in the morning. I'm not like dreading those Mondays. So that was just kind of like right there, what you heard me was kind of giving like a scenario if someone were to ask me what I'm doing for a living. And of course, I'd be more upbeat about it. I'd be like, oh yes, so they asked me what I do for a living. It's like, yeah, I'm a data analyst for Microsoft. And it's I'm not going to repeat myself, but you get the idea. So really, if I'm going to fix my life, the first thing I got to really do is, okay, kind of get back into the groove of working on picking up my skills. That's like, okay, I've spent the last 3 to 4 weeks probably playing a little too much, and maybe I'm just quite not ready yet. Maybe I just got to really kind of focus on maybe establishing my career, give more of my focus on establishing my career, but not completely, put on the back burner, putting myself out there. Because I figure over time, just even with experience in itself, the more I start talking with people, I'm probably, it's like anything else. If you spend enough time with it, you get better at it. It's like, if I were to ski 100 days a year, I would hope I would be a halfway decent skier. But yeah, it's hard to say. But if I were to say spend 100 days, a couple hours a day working on interacting with other people, I would more than likely probably significantly improve on my social skills. And I've thought about kind of making a video on this, but I might just briefly bring it up. But there's this app called Dial-Up, and what's really cool is you'll get like random calls, and so you download this app, and you'll get like this random calls, and you'll hear like some music, and they'll be like, you are about to be paired with someone around the world, and you get to have a live conversation with someone. It's like having a conversation with a complete stranger, and that's what's really cool, is you're actually talking with another person, not using text, no emojis, an actual real life conversation. And I've had a handful of those conversations, and I've managed to do, I kind of gauge like how well I'm doing, because it's like, if I can hold an hour-long conversation, I would think that would be halfway decent. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I've the longest conversation. But most of the time it's because I've got to do other things, so it's not because I was boring the other person because they had to do some other stuff. So I figured that's, I don't know. I mean, I really have no idea what's considered a good length of time to have a conversation, but I would figure, an hour, 10 minutes, that's not bad, or at least lasting to the point where they have to do something else. So that's what I really enjoy about that app. It's kind of giving me a chance to really improve my social skills. And I've actually had one person comment, and this was after I made that a couple weeks after I made that blogging videos. Yeah, they said that I sounded like a real, okay, I don't want to, okay, I'm going to try not to brag about myself. So let's just kind of keep it at, really what I got to focus on is building up on that low self-esteem. I've got to go into life with more confidence, going into like that, kind of like as I'm going into attack mode on that ski hill, or going into that ring, kind of like in that offensive mode, not so much defensive, but more in offensive manner, but also developing technique, because you can be the strongest skier out there, but if you have sloppy technique, the outcome is probably not going to be very good. So I think it was long overdue that I made a blogging video, and hopefully over time, and hopefully when I make more progress, because I'm actually working on a professional data analyst certificate that's being taught by Google through Coursera, and it's a pretty cool course. I'm actually learning quite a bit. So hopefully after completing this certificate program, I will hopefully have enough stuff on my resume to where I can actually finally land myself at least an entry-level data analyst job. And then I can really start kind of worrying about other things, like getting myself out of this student housing environment and getting my own place and whatnot. But so, it's time to fix my life, and how I'm going to do that is I've got to fix my low self-esteem. So once again, thank you for all the supportive comments and suggestions, and just for your support in general. And thank you all for watching. Have a great day or night wherever you're at.